In the secluded town of Ravenswood, an ancient legend whispered among the townsfolk held that one could summon a demon to grant their deepest desires for a price. Most dismissed it as folklore, but for Daniel, a grieving widower, the legend was a beacon of hope. His wife, Elena, had died tragically, leaving him heartbroken and desperate for one last conversation with her. Consumed by grief, Daniel sought out the old ritual said to summon that demon. He found the instructions in a dusty, forgotten book in the town's neglected library. That night, he prepared the summoning circle for his small cottage, using chalk to draw intricate symbols on the wooden floor. The air was heavy with anticipation and fear. Before starting, Daniel called his best friend Mark. "If you don't hear from me by morning, come and check on me," he said, his voice unsteady. Mark, sensing the gravity of the situation, reluctantly agreed. As the full moon cast a ghostly light on the window, Daniel began the incantation, his voice trembling. "I call upon ancient ones, shadow in the dark, hear my plea, grant my wish." The temperature in the room plummeted, and the shadow seemed to deepen. A low, guttural voice echoed from the darkness. "Who dares summon me?" Daniel's heart pounded, but he steadied himself. I am Daniel. I wish to speak to my wife, Elena. I'll do anything." A dark figure, towering, materialized within the circle, its eyes glowing with malevolent light. "A deal, then," the demon purred, its voice like nails on a chalkboard. "I can grant your request, but there's always a price." Desperate, Daniel nodded. "Anything, I'll pay any price." The demon's smile was cold and sinister. "Very well. You have 1 hour with your beloved. But remember, all magic comes with a cost. Enjoy your time together." With a snap of the demon's fingers, the room filled with a blinding light. When the light faded, Elena stood before him, looking as she did the day she died. Tears streamed down Daniel's face as he rushed to embrace her. "Elena," he sobbed, "I miss you so much." They spent the next hour talking, laughing, holding each other. Daniel felt a sense of peace he hadn't known since her death. But as the minutes passed, he grew weaker, a feeling he attributed to the emotional intensity of the union. The demon reappeared, its eyes gleaming with satisfaction. "Your time is up." Elena began to fade, her expression filled with sorrow. "No, I can't lose you again." But it was too late. The light vanished, and Elena was gone. Daniel collapsed to the floor, his strength nearly gone. The demon loomed over him, its smile widening. "Enjoy the remainder of your days, Daniel," it said with mocking tone. Daniel's vision blurred as the demon disappeared, leaving him alone in the dark, empty room. He managed to crawl to his bed, each movement a struggle. The journey felt like an eternity. The next morning, as agreed, Mark arrived at the cottage. He found the door ajar and the house eerily silent. Inside, he discovered Daniel laying in his bed, his face pale and drawn, aged far beyond his years. Mark shook him gently, but Daniel was unresponsive, barely clinging to light. Mark called for help, and they nursed him back to consciousness. He weakly recounted the events of the summoning, the reunion, and the demon's ominous words. Mark listened, horrified as Daniel described the relentless nightmares that plagued him now, reliving the moment Elena was taken from him over and over. Days turned into weeks, and Daniel's condition deteriorated. He experienced relentless nightmares, waking each night screaming, the demon's laughter echoing in his mind. The once strong man became a frail shell of himself, consumed by a demon's curse. One evening, a local priest visited Daniel, having heard of his plight through Mark. As they spoke, Daniel recounted the deal he had made. The priest's face grew pale. "The demon has cursed you, Daniel. Your life force is being drained, and your soul is bound to its will." Desperation clawed at Daniel's heart. "Is there anything I can do to break the curse?" The priest shook his head sadly. "Once a pact is made with the demon, it's nearly impossible to break. All you can do is seek forgiveness and hope that in death you find peace." Daniel's health continued to decline. The townspeople could only watch helplessly as he withered away, his body and soul consumed by the demon's curse. On his last night, Daniel whispered a final prayer, hoping for redemption. As he drew his last breath, the room grew cold, and the shadows deepened. The demon appeared one final time, its eyes gleaming with triumph.
"Behold, your soul is mine, Daniel. You must serve me for eternity."
Daniel's spirit was torn from his body, bound to the demon's dark realm, forced to relive the torment endlessly. The cottage remained a silent sentinel, its dark secrets waiting for the next desperate soul, desperate enough to find them.